Green Book. Tony Collette.
Jusef, it's time to start the podcast, bud.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Hey, man, it's time to start.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I had to wake up early today to watch the Oscar nominations.
Yeah, but
I'm so tired.
You wake up every day early for work, man.
Oh, yeah. So, welcome to the Flyover State of Film, guys. As always, with me is Brian, Joe, and TJ. How about we crack the beers and just let's get this started?
Yeah, let's not stand on ceremony up in this piece.
Mm-hmm.
So what's up with you guys?
You know, it's another day of snubs up in the Oscars, you know?
L-I-V-I-N.
Guys, I can't believe my things got nominated today, but fuck, they got snubbed. You got all the nominations, but then just snubs. No recognition. It's a travesty.
How many did you want?
Oh, well, you know what? I wanted my favorite movies to sweep.
Every single one?
It's an all or nothing thing, right? If you don't get nominated for every Oscar, you like, what's even the point, right?
Even my adapted screenplay. Get it all.
I feel like Black Panther should have also gotten Best Documentary because it's the first filmmakers to ever go to Wakanda, so that's technically a documentary.
It's true. No one has ever documented the culture of Wakanda before. That's true. That is true.
Guys, even in short films, animated and live action, the videos they had on the screens, someone had to film that.
The trailer should have been nominated for Best Short.
But here's the thing. It is awesome it got nominated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think anyone's debating that. It's really cool it got nominated. It shows a diversity not just in what's being nominated, but in the type of films they're deciding to nominate right now. Like,
for sure.
A big budget superhero movie got nominated. I personally thought Infinity War was more of an achievement, but great. It's great that Black Panther's in. What I do have an issue with, though, is getting really upset over different categories of its nomination when it's like, you got your Best Picture. That was the big one. There's 5 nominations for the other categories. You're not wasting it on not Black Panther nominations.
Right, they don't have the space in those they just don't have the open area. And I mean, yeah, I just think, like, if you were gonna nominate Coogler for a movie, this shouldn't have been the one. You know what I mean? Don't rush to give him an Oscar because he'll likely win an Oscar. You don't have to trip over yourself to do it for this.
The one thing I don't want to see happen with Coogler is what happened, is to just now get caught in making great big budget studio films, like you said, like go back and do.
Was he working on something in between the next Black Panther?
I hope so.
I always thought that was the really smart thing that Nolan did. Was he always did a movie in between the Batman movies, and a big one too, not like a small side piece.
Well,
he took a break, you know.
Yeah, they follow the Scorsese method of, I do one for the studio, I get to do one myself.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Coen's did that in their early years too.
Yeah.
There was a little element.
But I agree to that. It's silly that you're. It's not silly. Some people take it seriously, and it inspires people, especially people of color or minorities or whatever the case may be, to achieve those same goals that they're seeing in Spike Lee or whatever the case may be. But it's silly to get this mad when everybody knows it's bought and paid for. Like, it's whoever is campaigning the most, whoever is sending the more screeners, whoever is running whisper campaigns.
Booth Riley had a big Twitter thread all about that, about how he's like, we didn't get nominated because we didn't spend the money on a campaign, that's how it gets done. And also, I mean, no offense, but I feel like there's kind of a weak year for the Oscars. Like, look at the other Best Picture noms. Like, did Bohemian Rhapsody get a nom? And Stars Born? And it's just like, are these the best pictures? Really?
That's why
I think Black Panther is, like, I actually, in other years where I'd have been like, this is kind of a gift to the people. This is like, hey, we're hip, we're in step. This is a year where Black Panther is legitimately in the top end of some of the movies I see on that list. Like, so
On that list, yeah.
Well, Goosebumps Haunted
from its
too.
competition this year that they picked. I think there were better movies that didn't make it, that didn't get into that didn't get the nom.
Well, Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween didn't get in, and I just
fucking A, man. And you know, Wendy McLeod-Covey, me and my wife were just talking about this. You know, I was so worried that after Reno 911 she would go away, but thanks to the Goldbergs, and then of course Goosebumps 2, she has continued her rise, her meteoric rise.
All right, so anybody has a favorite nomination before we jump off?
Actually, I just wanted to really quick what I wanted to add to that. Now, like other serious talk to what you guys were saying, and Jusef. Like, I also think the Oscars though are one of the last. We make jokes on Twitter. Are one of the last award shows that should have an importance and weight, and the nominations mean something, and not just. These were the top popcorns of the years. That's why I think they're awesome the
closest to being a respected. Yes. Like they're definitely considered the top end. You know what I mean?
It's awesome when I see something like the actress from Roma getting the noms, right? Mm-hmm. And these names, and you're like, who's that? Like, that's cooler than like, oh, I recognize that name because it's like people paid attention.
Toni Collette.
Well, Toni Collette, yeah, that is a legit snub. We take the snub term far too loose. There are snubs, and then there are just like, I was mildly annoyed by this, and I want a participation.
Also, Jesse Eisenberg was snubbed for BVS.
Acting so hard.
Joe, what's your favorite nomination?
Well, I really don't pay attention.
Oh, Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott for Star is Born.
That's good. That's
very deserved.
I'd love to see him get a statue. That's awesome.
Yeah. So. TJ, you've been quiet. Any favorite nomination?
Oh man, I love the award season. Award season's like my favorite fucking thing in the world. Solo for fucking visual effects, man.
Ow!
I think
I think Solo could take something for visual effects.
I thought it looked good. So
guys, I still haven't watched my Redbox copy of Solo.
Watch it, bud.
No,
I think visual effects look good. I don't care what Aaron Reich, whatever his name is, what he did. His
name's Timothée Chalamet.
My favorite is Yorgos for best director. He's The Lobster, Dogtooth. He's a Sacred Deer. He's an incredible director, and he's from Greece. Brian,
nomination.
Yes, it was awesome. Brian, tell me your nominee, and then jump into your topic.
No, I really don't have a nominee. I'm not one of those people who says they don't care about the Oscars and then goes on a Twitter rant that is like many threads over and over. Week. I don't even care about this, but I will spend most of my afternoon talking about it.
Listen. So what?
Go ahead, Joe. You take it.
What? I wasn't talking about anybody in particular. I was just saying.
No, I get it.
Spike Lee finally being nominated for director. All right, moving on.
No, but while I was like weeding through Joe's threads, you might have heard on Twitter that there was a lot of weather this weekend. A lot of storms. Yes, that's right. LA got some rain apparently. Yeah. Every person in my feed was talking about it. Not to mention, I was snowed in with 5 inches in one night, and it was like -3 or 4 when I woke up. No, don't worry about that though. Tell me about rain again, LA.
5 inches.
For Christ's sake.
But
anyway,
but it's 45 degrees and raining.
Oh my God! You have to put on the jacket. Anyway, but because I was snowed in. I took the opportunity and I did a little unconventional movie trilogy. I watched a couple of Jackie Chan movies, 3 Jackie Chan movies. Trilogy means 3. I watched Legend of Drunken Master, which I believe represents. It's my favorite, but it also represents, I think, kind of like the peak of what he did in China and the movies he was making in his early career. And then I watched Rumble in the Bronx, which was those movies came out very close together, but that's like where he turns the corner a little bit, gets more into like action Jackie Chan, lots of martial arts still, but also doing the more stunt work and stuff. And then I watched Shanghai Nights because that's his more conventional, and it gets a bump for me because it has Donnie Yen as the villain. So
over Rush Hour. You take that one
over
Rush
the
Hour?
Tuxedo.
I think the first Rush Hour is a better movie than
Okay.
Shanghai Nights, than the sequel to Shanghai Noon. But I just wanted to watch the one that had Donnie Yen in it, so that's the one I picked.
What about the Tuxedo?
I did see the Tuxedo, but I don't remember it. It's not one I bought. I don't think
we'll be
I have
talking about Jennifer Love Hewitt later on.
Okay, she'll be coming up. You can make your point. But anyway, so that gave me the idea for the whole thing. What I wanted to talk about real quick is, like, say you're snowed in on a day like that, or you're just taking it easy, whatever. You just got time to kill. You're like TJ. You just got nothing going on. What's a trilogy of movies that, not necessarily from a franchise, but that are kind of loosely connected in some way, that you think would make a good trilogy to do in one day? So that's the question I'm posing here, guys.
All
Go
right,
ahead, TJ.
since you start off with me, so I do this a lot. I went with the most cliche route. I went with the comic book movies, but I went like the R-rated ones that have nothing to do with each other, but definitely line up in a great three movie binge. I went with 94's The Crow. With Brandon Lee. I went like the R-rated route, but that movie on a snowy day, the aesthetics of it and everything like that just go hand in hand. I mean, it's definitely a heavy one, but has some great, still holds up to this day, dialogue and some amazing shots. And Brandon Lee, it goes without saying.
The action is great and the special effects.
Oh, yeah. Then right after that one, you're going to jump right into 1998, and you're going to jump into Wesley Snipes' Blade, and just keep riding that wave of darkness in the Dark City streets, rain, the whole nine. Just keep riding.
This is first original recipe Blade, or can we pick and choose from the? Because I'm a Blade 2 guy.
1 or 2. There's no 3.
Okay, all right.
If you want to do 3, I'm not upset about it. It has.
I was gonna say, 3's got that great Parker Posey performance in it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I can't completely write it off. It's got Natasha Lyonne. It's got Patton Oswalt. It's got there's little nibbles. There's things to nibble on.
Even Ryan Reynolds has his moments in that too.
The scenes with Ryan Reynolds and Parker Posey make that whole, like, I would watch just a movie of those two just like being catty with each other.
Yeah. So I mean, you can go. Yeah, exactly. You can go in the Blade trilogy 3 at that point if you want either of the 3. Then right after that, I'm going with the most recent 2017 Logan. It goes without saying, in the most recent years, even with Deadpool, into a serious, dark movie that makes you feel some things like the Crow and Blade did at some points. You got to go with in this trilogy of movies. You got to end it with Logan. You can go the black and white noir version or just the regular. I will say I just recently watched that. I'm still going to go the regular version. It was really cool to watch, but I'm still taking the cinematography of that original with all the colors and stuff like that.
But how many Logans are in the Logan you want to watch?
It depends. Do you want the Logan of the female variety? Do you want the Logan of the young variety? Or the Logan of the alcoholic, older, claw stuck in his hand variety?
I'd actually just like to see Xavier Logan.
Tell me more.
Just old and senile.
Pooping himself.
I like the claw erectile dysfunction Logan.
Yeah, he's got to pull it out himself.
Yeah, and also I want to say something that movie probably has one of the best closing scenes I've seen in a comic book movie ever. And I usually I chastise or criticize people that say ever or all time or never. But that closing scene when she flips the cross into an X, that's just like, fuck yes.
We have a lot of fun at the expense of Logan, but it's a very good movie.
Speaking of one,
also, I didn't get to say anything, but The Crow is just fucking incredible. In fact, if you want to know how incredible I think The Crow actually is, you can check out DVD Bunker. I did an episode recently on The Crow, so check that out on this feed, wherever you're listening to this.
Jack Shipley.
Maybe look me up on iTunes or SoundCloud. Stitcher, wherever.
What do you got, Joe?
Well, I don't have The Crow, but I do want to have fun. And instead of going with the Nick Cage route, as I originally planned,
we expected that.
It's 2 on brand.
2 on brand. I really want to go fun with this. Is a really loose trilogy. This will be a really loose marathon of a trilogy or not. And so I just want to where you're like hanging out with your friends. And have a comedy. So pick 3 comedies, buddy comedies. I'm going to go with Dumb and Dumber to start off with, and then I'm going to go with Superbad, and then I'm going to want to end it with Step Brothers. I just feel like that's going to be a really fun day of laughter, maybe some snowy drinks, and you know, like you're not going to feel shitty after you watch
Now,
them.
Are you totally bought into the series here? Could you flip flop? Because I was thinking if you did Superbad, Dumb and Dumber, then Step Brothers, it would feel like an age progression thing where you have your young coming of age and then you like work forward.
I think let's go with that. And I think they're this doesn't sound. I like that order a lot. And the thing is, this doesn't sound. No one's going to agree here, but the variety of comedy they're going through, there is a difference in the humor in all three of those movies.
They are.
I mean, I'd say Superbad and Step Brothers are closer.
They're closer
of comedy, but I think they're still different enough that you're getting a lot of different beats.
Yeah.
I have a question though.
What's up?
What's a snowy drink? Do you use snow as ice, or
maybe like rum chata and chocolate?
Oh,
maybe
that's a good question.
Maybe I just put my beers in snow, which somehow makes them taste better.
Mm.
What is the drink for everybody's trilogy? That's actually a great question.
So my drink for the trilogy would be natural lights in snow.
That's
packed in snow. You got them sitting down in snow.
Joe is gonna miss 70% of his movies because he's gonna be pissing every 3 seconds.
Now I have a question for you,
I got
Joe.
Michael's tonight.
Yeah, these are duo comedies, super bad, give or take, because of McLovin. So are you just watching this with your best friend? Because watching this group of friends, I feel like some people feel left out. Like you said,
everybody in the room thinks they're the friend of yours. You know, everybody thinks it's you.
Maybe I don't have friends and I'm just watching it alone, and these are my
Joey's playing the field.
So it's really actually something that I want to do because I feel like no one watches good comedies anymore, and to me those are three really solid comedies that have aged well. I know your fucking opinions on Dumb and Dumber, Brian, so stop that face.
Superbad is one of the best of this.
I was Robert De Niroing down here in the corner, like.
No, Superbad is like absolutely one of the best of the last.
I think Superbad, like even just something like the quoting of like people don't forget.
It's all those small characters in the outside.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got?
What do you got?
Wait, TA, what's your drink?
Let's do like something offhand. Let's do a Shirley Temple because they're obviously virgin, correct? I believe they're red though, and just throw like 2 shots of whiskey in it, and it makes it a little bit darker, so it looks like blood. Because all these movies are rated R and all have lots of blood in it. So that's about it. That's all I got.
All right. So my marathon, the drink you'll need is a shot of whiskey. Not a whiskey, it's tequila, because tequila gives you balls, and my marathon is based on stunt work and the actors that have the balls to pull it off. I'm going to start my trilogy with Jackie Chan in honor of the Criterion announcement. I picked Police Story. Nice. That film is fucking jam-packed with crazy stunts, from the bus stopping and the people crashing and literally breaking their necks. The street fighting is crazy. Rather than the beautiful martial arts scene, it's just like gritty fighting in the streets. Obviously the highlight is the mall scene, the mall fight, that culminates with him jumping through the pole and breaking all the glass and all the light bulbs. I actually was watching an interview of Jackie, and he said that his last thought before jumping was, "I'm gonna die today." And he still fucking jumped from the ledge. And went down the pole.
You think Tom Cruise like watches that or listens to that and gets inspired?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think Tom Cruise would do that if like insurance people didn't basically like hold him by the neck.
Or Tom Cruise hasn't listened to it yet, and if he did, Tom Cruise would try to like jump over the Grand Canyon because he's that type of guy.
Also, why are you letting Tom Cruise steal a person of color's spotlight here?
No, I'm just saying he gets inspired. First of all, inspired, Joe, not stealing. Inspired.
And to Jackie Chan's, I put Jackie Chan over Tom Cruise, even though I love Tom Cruise and I'm going to mention him in this marathon, is that all the stunts are so low budget that they only had one shot, pretty much one shot to make them. So all the stunts of crews are awesome, but they're like multiple shots.
Yeah.
And also, you don't get those because one of my favorite things growing up watching. I don't mean to cut you off, but one of my favorite Jackie Chan movies growing up is all his end credits showed him doing the live, like not like the crazy stuff, but the live hand-to-hand ladder stuff, going through holes, like those crazy things that you watched for the end. That made you watch credits. Like that was before Marvel made you sit through literal credits of just names. This guy did a video behind all the credits of him crawling through a ladder's little gap and stuff like that. Like Jackie Chan was the stunt man of all stuntmen. Like it was insane.
So moving on to a stuntman to a stunt woman, because diversity. I'm not Brian in the bunker. I picked Zoe Bell from Death Proof.
Oh, I love it. I was so happy. That's exactly what the movie I thought of when you said this.
Yes. So just her stunt hanging from the muscle car as the serial killer that is Kurt Russell is ramming his fucking muscle car against her at high speed over and over again. It's just fucking fantastic to watch. And on top of that, like the stunt work of the car destructions are all practical effects. And you get that satisfying ending where it's just visceral, where all the girls just kill him. It's fucking amazing. And
with
you get
the car in the background.
Yes. And you get some Tarantino quirky conversations on top of everything. Yeah. So that's my pick. That's an underrated Tarantino movie.
Guys, those are good trilogies.
I've been a fan of that movie. I've always stood by it. I think that's a really underrated Tarantino movie.
Brian, what's your drink?
I haven't finished, Joe.
Yeah, you used to finish his thing.
That's your trilogy.
No, he only had two. He only had two.
It's a Chan Police Story, Death Proof, Zoe, and Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation. The hanging off the plane, running motorcycles through Venice, the cars, destruction, and holding his breath underwater for that beautiful long take where he's just doing the vault thing is fucking amazing. And the hand-to-hand combat too. He's a great fighter, and they use the cliche of Hollywood where they cut to the punch. They show you the long takes of him actually landing punches and taking punches. So it's Tom Cruise is awesome.
Not according to one Ginger McFarland.
I mean,
wait a minute. Wait,
we don't take into account people that don't have souls.
I've foreseen this pick the entire time. I was like, wait a minute, Jack. Yeah, Jack. I gave him credit. All right, I'm just saying. So it's a good pick.
He makes entertaining films, and Mission Impossibles are the epitome of the entertainment.
Got snubbed. Brian, trilogy.
So I was thinking something. I also did superhero movies, but something a little bit different. These are unconnected, like superhero movies, not based on a comic book, and they all have a kind of like emotional or mental health bent to them. First one is Woody Harrelson's Defendor. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this.
No.
You know, Woody Harrelson dresses up. He's kind of a little bit of like a delayed guy, just a touch, just enough to make him very innocent. But he dresses up at night and is doing his superhero thing, and it's kind of like, you know, touches on just what a hero is, and you know, it's a very emotional film, like surprisingly emotional. Yep, that'd be the one. Oh, 2009 maybe.
It says
10. All right.
That's
like
my first pick. It's just actually really, I want to go watch this now. I've never heard of this movie.
That looks awesome.
It's quite good. It's quite good. The second one is Michael Rappaport in Special. This is a movie again. He's a guy who not 100% sure if he has powers or not. He might be being caused by this medication he's on. He doesn't know. So it's again, we're getting into what's a hero, what's real, what's reality. Just another one that I enjoyed. I take it, Joe, you're not a Rappaport fan, or?
He sometimes is a hard pill to swallow. Especially,
I agree as a human, but I'm just saying for this one movie.
And he's ginger.
Fuck.
As a human, I think he's he's tainted some of his older work, but I might like the movie if that makes sense.
What, Deep Blue Sea?
No, like I don't mind him in Deep Blue Sea because he dies.
And that leg twitch is so classic.
Yeah,
It's iconic.
like he's
Leg.
fine as Michael Rappaport.
Who are you going to trust?
You know what's a great Michael Rappaport movie? Kind of Copland.
Next Friday.
Higher Learning.
Yeah, so it's just like, stop talking about sports, dude.
Friends.
And then my third is one I hope everybody's familiar with. James Gunn's Super.
Yes.
Rainn
I thought
Wilson,
you were going that way.
Ellen Page. This movie is I saved it for last week. It is by far the best of the three. Not to take anything away from those other movies, I really enjoy them. But Super is a movie that, like, it's so good that I was at like a thrift store and I saw a bunch of $2 copies and I just bought them for people I knew. I was like, you need to have this. Just have it and watch it.
I have a $2 copy of Super.
Yeah, like just get it. Just watch
The first
it.
time
It's
I
really
saw-
fucking great.
It's so jarring.
Well, the first time I
you
came
see
across it, the very first scene I saw was the one surgical scene where his head's getting opened up to get
The
all the
alien or
information.
whatever, yeah.
And I was
Tentacles?
like this, what the fuck is this? And I had to look at it and I had to
This
stop.
is like
and I watched it
post
again.
Slither, pre Guardians James Gunn here, so he's still doing his weird shit. He hasn't been sanitized for the masses yet. I love the contrast of the kind of like silliness of the comedy and the harsh reality of the violence. You know,
Well, that's why it's
the
so
first time
jarring.
Rainn
watching
Wilson
it.
caves a dude's skull in with that wrench,
Yeah.
and it's like it gets real as fuck in a minute.
How
Like,
many-
it's just like clunk. That's
How-
it. You're just like, oh shit.
How many people you think watched that when it came out, being like, "Oh man, I love Dwight from The Office. This is gonna be
Yeah.
hysterical."
Oh yeah. Oh, so many.
And
And then
that's
they're
like
like,
I love that cute girl from Juno. I don't
Yeah,
want
and
to
they
see
were
her
like, "Oh no,
Rainn
Shirley!
Wilson, though. I know.
Oh no,
And it-
Shirley, turn it off. This isn't right."
And
This
it's
isn't-
perfect casting because Rainn Wilson is the last person you imagine like putting on a costume and fighting crime.
Actually, he's the first person I imagine because
When
he's weird
He
enough.
creams that dude and he just like runs up and screams like, "Don't molest kids!" The dude like got his head caved in from a wrench.
The best part is him sitting there watching the reports while he's flipping the burgers and burning everything. He's got the one part next to him. It's like, you never burned a burger in so many years. Never seen that before. And like, it's just like those stupid little things. You're like, the writing of that was so dumb but perfect that it just
Oh yeah,
made
it's really
so much
great.
Super is I know I like this movie. We have an episode about this movie, but Super is what Kick-Ass should have been.
Kick-Ass 2 should have been.
Yes, that's
That's
better.
all.
Like I like Kick-Ass. It's not. We have a whole episode on that you can listen
Well,
to.
talking about should have been. I don't know if you guys heard about the Ghostbusters that's coming out. Let's talk about who should have been Ghostbusters in their prime.
And you know
No,
what? I
yeah.
think
I
it's a
need
really
to
good
know-
idea.
I need to
I think
know
it's awesome
Brian's
and
drink.
smart to cave in to toxic fandoms and give them what they want if they complain enough. It's going to set a bad precedent at all, and I definitely don't think it's a terrible way to do business.
No, it's perfect. It's really smart.
It's
This-
smart
this-
and good, and also
No.
good.
No
Brian,
problems will happen.
Pause on the bracket. What's your drink, Brian?
What, that I'm just drinking tonight, or the one that goes with my bracket?
The one that goes with your bracket. No, the
I
one that
mean,
you
it's kind of a like the movies all, like I said, have kind of fun, but also can get a little dour and have a little emotion to them. So I think I'll go with my classic rum and coke. Something that can be for a party, but can also be when you're just sad and alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
TJ, set this bracket up.
So basically what's happening is that we heard recently that they're going to redo Ghostbusters, but not only they're going to redo Ghostbusters, they're going to do Ghostbusters, but with the son of Ivan Reitman. I can't think of Jason Reitman is his name
Jason
off the top of my head.
Who is a good
correct?
director? He has made some good movies. I think Thank You for Smoking is a really good movie.
That's
Yes.
a great movie.
So what
Wow.
they're doing is they're basing this around teenagers and teenagers finding the proton packs and getting in their own little ventures. So I wanted to take the guys of the podcast and ask them, let's take the teens stars of the decades that we squashed up into 4 different categories and 4 names for each category. And I was like, let's pick 4 different teen stars of those decades and let's make the ultimate teen Ghostbusters. That if they were going to make this at any point in time, we can make our wish list of these Ghostbusters. Let's do this now. So we broke it down
A
to the 80s.
convergence of something the space-time continuum has folded and allowed the 4 peak stars of of their respective decades to come in and join forces to become our new Ghostbusters.
Or we could do like the Rogue One type thing and just CGI the entire cast.
Bases on the bodies of the characters. Yes. We broke it down to 80s, 90s, 2000s, and a special RIP member.
Dead bracket.
Right, I think it's appropriate that I think we're gonna be the first to one of our Ghostbusters should be a ghost. One of those things where they're gonna bring insights in, and also each of our decades we decided each decade represents a member of the team, right?
Yes, yeah, correct. And so the 80s is Ray, the 90s is Peter Venkman, the 2000s is Winston. And the death bracket obviously would be Egon Spengler, R.I.P. Harold Ramis.
R.I.P. brother.
So it's all very meta.
And but I have one thing. I have a curveball. We're still gonna keep Rick Moranis as his character.
Lewis.
Yep. Lewis. We're still gonna say him the same. Rick Moranis. No change there.
He shows up.
It'll be a bunch of teens and then 60-year-old Rick Moranis.
All right. I just needed to know that. That's fine.
Teens and a ghost teen.
We could cast Vigo later.
Yeah. So the way we're doing this now is we're going to start with the 80s. We asked our great Twitter followers and fans of the channel, the 10 of them, to vote on this. I get the first pick. Joe and Brian are going to flip a coin between the second and third pick, and Jusef gets the fourth and the first pick of the next round. I get to give my first vote for the 80s. Now, for our 80s bracket, as I'm showing you now, it's broken down between Anthony Michael Hall versus Jennifer Grey, and then Corey Feldman versus Gary Coleman. Jeez.
That's a hard name. It's a hard name.
Sorry.
Gary.
It's Coleminski.
My first vote is going to Anthony Michael Hall.
No
He's
shit.
My ultimate 80s teen of all time. He beats out anyone in this category, hands down. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. He also would play an amazing Ray stance. So, with starting off, my first pick, Anthony Michael Hall. I got a coin in my hand right now. Joe, pick heads or tails right now.
Tails never fails.
Heads, Joe.
It is heads. Brian, you get the next pick. Vote, bud.
And this is Anthony Michael Hall against Jennifer Grey, right?
Yes.
Correct.
It's hard to pick against Anthony Michael Hall because I agree. He's iconic for that decade as far as teen stars go. Also, he fits the Ray thing. He's he's got the nerdy thing down. That was his shtick, and that's the kind of Ray's the science guy. He's the kind of, so that fits. But just to play devil's advocate, Jennifer Grey is equal iconic for the 80s. Ferris Bueller, Red Dawn, Dirty Dancing. She kills it, and I do think that in up against someone else she would have done a little better, but it's hard. I don't think I can pick against Anthony Michael Hall.
Are you going with AMH?
Yeah, I'm going AMH.
All right. So Joe, you have the next pick, bud, and you can either close it out and move us on, or you can fight us.
Well, I'm going to use my time to talk about the first time TJ I ever interacted with on Twitter, and that was I needed photoshopping to make me dancing with Anthony Michael Hall with Howard the Duck in the background. I think it's still your profile picture. It changes every now and then. I am going to give you Anthony Michael Hall. I think it's there. Nice. I think we move it on.
So moving on now to Corey Feldman and Gary Coleman. Jusef, you get 2 votes in a row, bud. So it's up to you if you want to go 2 for 1 or 1 and 1.
So I'm voting Corey and Gary, right? Gary.
Yeah.
So Corey. I mean, Corey's kind of 80s, right? Like you can't say 80s without running into a Corey, right? 2 Fridays as their teens, The Goonies, Gremlins, Lost Boys, Burbs. License to Drive. But if I want a Ghostbuster to be agile and sneak into places, I gotta go with Gary Coleman.
You got Gary Coleman. So you're going 2 votes for him, or are you going to go 1? Because you got 1 back-to-back now.
I'm going 1-1.
All right. So now we're going to move on to me again. I got the next vote. Look, I'm going straight Corey Feldman. There's next to Anthony Michael Hall, there's no one better than Corey Feldman in the 80s. License to Drive, next to Goonies and Gremlins, stuff like that. I'm up there with him, so I'm going Corey Feldman on this one. Brian, you're up.
As a formality, I will give my vote to Gary Coleman because I do think he would be hilarious in this. You know what I mean? Like, again, like I think he's fighting against the kind of like iconicness of Corey Feldman. Like Corey Feldman kind of just like you said, he is the 80s, and so it's hard to pick against him. But Gary Coleman would be awesome in this. He would be hilarious. Yeah, and imagine that, like how like him struggling with the too big proton pack. Like there's just so much. There's just like there's good comedy to be had with that. You know what you talking about, Slimer? That kind of thing. Like just get in on that. Get in on it. So I'm gonna give a vote just out of. I know he's not gonna make it, but just shot in the dark. Let's give it up to Gary Coleman.
My man.
Who also could have been in our death bracket, but technically lived into be an adult man, even though he always looked kind of like a child.
You're just fumbling around with that proton pack.
I like he puts it on and it tips over, you know, just falls backwards and shit.
And then, oh man,
imagine Melissa McCarthy scene from the new Ghostbusters, but with Gary Coleman instead. It's like 10 times better.
Guys, it's Gary Coleman. Just imagine that poster. Like that silhouette is really out of proportion. It's great. I mean, nothing sells more tickets like a genetic disease. Gary Coleman.
Are you going for Gary?
I'm going for Gary. Gary's going on.
Oh man, holy shit!
All right, so now, so Jusef, you get the very first pick between Anthony Michael Hall and Gary Coleman for our 80s bracket to play our Ray Stents.
No, I have Michael Anthony Hall and Weird Science. You know, he knows the science lingo. We already established that, but fuck it, man. I'm still voting Gary. I want to see him in a jumper. I want to see him in a jumper with the backpack. I want to see him like Venkman be snarky at him, and like Joe said, he was like, "What you talking about, Venkman?" Yes, I want all that.
I have a point for Gary. I know I'm not up.
You're not up yet.
But I have a point.
You gotta sit on it. You're not up.
All right, TJ.
Well, if you guys haven't figured it out yet, my next vote's going to be Anthony Michael Hall. Him alone and Edward Scissorhands as a bully team.
No, that's 90s.
That's not in the 80s.
You can't bring this work in the 90s,
I'm just saying he was playing a teen. It works either way because he did Johnny Be Good. Johnny Be Good, which he played a high school football star, completely out of his casting area of him always being a nerd. He played Johnny Be Good. Check the movie out; it's really good. 1989. Watch that. The guy plays a great nerd on top of also being able to stand the physical nature of
and that's Aykroyd too. Because Aykroyd's a big dude. Aykroyd's not. You know, he wasn't spindly.
All right, TJ, we get it. Michael.
Yes.
Brian, what you got?
I shot myself in the foot with this Gary Coleman thing, so I got to reel it in. Anthony Michael Hall deserves this spot. He belongs in this movie. He is the pick for this one for all the reasons we've already mentioned. He deserves this spot. He can deliver the comedy just like Gary. He's got the goods. Plus, he can play both sides of the coin. He can be physical, but he can do the stunts. But he can be a nerd.
Okay.
All right, Michael. Joe.
Here's the thing. Gary Coleman may be short in stature, but he's a giant in the industry. His presence on screen would bring the hammer. He would not only be better than Dan Aykroyd in that role, he probably still has the same crazy alien conspiracies that he does in real life, and will bring that energy to this role. It's not only that, it's that Gary Coleman is so much better than Anthony Michael Hall that Gary Coleman was up for the role in The Dark Knight, but guess what? He died and he couldn't get it. So
for what
Anthony
role?
Michael Hall got it. As the newscaster.
No, you're lying.
He was up for the hot boyfriend in Edward Scissorhands. But Gary Coleman just, you know what? He had something better to do that weekend and said, no,
so we're tied 2-2.
All right. So because of
It's
this,
tie.
we have a tie. So I can flip a coin as of right now. Brian, you're going to call for us for Anthony Michael Hall.
Laura,
Yusef,
the meatloaf. The meatloaf.
You're calling it for Gary. So Brian, call in there.
Heads.
It's heads. It's heads.
Ah, fuck you.
We moved on to the 1990s. We're looking at Will Smith versus Leo DiCaprio. We got heavy hitters up to bat. I believe last was Joe. First off is Jusef.
No, let's start with you, TJ.
Okay, then I'll vote first. I'm going. Hey, there's no bigger. My favorite show growing up was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, so I'm going Will Smith right off the bat. There's no explanation needed. I'm going Willie. So next up, we got Brian.
Growing Pains, Titanic, Romeo plus Juliet. These are,
Critters
seminal
3.
works. This is
Quick and the Dead.
The Quick and the Dead is fucking excellent. I just watched Unforgiven and I was like, Gene Hackman plays almost the same character in Quick and the Dead and Unforgiven. It's weird.
By the way, this is for Peter Venkman.
Yes, Peter Venkman is the character here. But honestly, like I said, as I do think Leo did good work in the 90s, but I think he didn't really grow into himself and become fulfill his potential as a teen star. He was a heartthrob, but he was also he was in the biggest movie of all time. Like, how much did he support that? How much did that support him? I'm not sure. But again, same could be said for Will Smith. Kind of did not reach his full potential till the 2000s. I don't know how you feel about Will Smith. I guess personally for me, I believe his best work's the 90s. But I think most people would say he came to fruition in the 2000s.
Voted.
This one's this one's really close to really tough. I'm gonna say Will Smith.
Boom, Joe.
2 for Willie. Joe, you're up.
Let's go, guys. This man did a little thing in the 90s. He got jiggy with it.
Mm-hmm.
He went down to Miami.
Yeah, he
He
did.
fought aliens. It's Big Willie style. If you have
He fought aliens a couple of times.
Venkman is is the most important Ghostbuster. That you need that charisma, you need that swag, it just needs to be dripping. But you also need the earnestness, and that's what 90s Will Smith had.
And even as a teen star, Will Smith could do that, whereas Leo could do that. Wolf of Wall Street, Leo could do that, but he couldn't do that as a kid.
You stole the words out of my mouth.
All right,
Well, I do that a lot
on.
because we were kissing.
Leo got no votes. All right, Jusef, you're starting us off, bud. You got Macaulay Culkin versus Jennifer Love Hewitt of the 90s for Peter Venkman. Voted up.
I think this is an easy choice when it was first presented to me. But then I started to think about Macaulay, and I don't want my Ghostbusters to die from a bee sting. So I am going to go with Jennifer Love Hewitt because I can't hardly wait to see her as a Ghostbuster.
Now, I get the next vote, and I don't always agree with Jusef. We actually butt heads a lot. Recently, we just did that over a certain person.
Padma.
I'm going to go with that usual thing, and I'm going against it. I would love to see a teen Mac play Peter Venkman. He had so much charm as the child actor and the teen. As Richie Rich, Peter Venkman, Richie Rich blows my mind. So I'm going straight up Mac. Macaulay is my vote. All right, Joe. Or Brian, I'm sorry.
It's weird. I feel like Macaulay almost has too similar energy to Anthony Michael Hall. You know what I mean? I feel like putting them both on the team doesn't feel quite right. But then when I think about who is a better Venkman, I kind of am like, you're right about Teen Macaulay. But then I remember Heartbreakers. And I'm like, okay, she can do, she can play it on the slide. She can play, you know what I mean? She can be a manipulator. She can be a wild card. So I think I'm going to throw my weight behind Jennifer Love Hewitt, man.
Whew.
I really like Heartbreak.
Can't hardly wait. And I know where Joe's going because we're attacking his horror here. He's got us on.
Guys, Venkman, the sex appeal, the humor.
You're right.
All right, save your spiel for the next round then,
It's
because
Jennifer Love
he's
Hewitt,
moving.
guys.
We all know it's
It's
Jennifer
Jennifer
Love
Love
Hewitt.
Hewitt.
All right.
It's all it is. I have no other words.
See how Will Smith versus
I guess Macaulay has to stay home alone.
Podcast is canceled.
All right, final round. Peter Venkman. We got Will Smith versus JLH. Jusef, you got the first pick in this round, buddy. Go for it.
It's Will Smith next round. That's first.
All right. Now that I'm thinking about this, I'm going Will Smith.
Yeah.
Joe or Brian.
Just to push it off on Joe, I'm going to say Jennifer Love Hewitt.
All right.
Ooh. Joe,
Guys,
your spiel about Jennifer.
Guys, she's not only beautiful, but she has some brain behind there. She can be sarcastic. She could be Jennifer Love Hewitt. She's the best.
She is Jennifer Love Hewitt.
She's better Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh boy.
Is she better Nev Campbell?
Yes, because she's Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Ooh, that's bold. That's bold, my man.
She can't hardly wait.
So we have a tie?
We have a tie because Jennifer
Tied
Love
up again,
Hewitt,
man. We got to take it to the coin.
If I see that movie poster and I go, "Ooh, Jennifer Love Hewitt's in this," it's going to get me in the seat more than Will Smith.
Campton. How about you call in the air? Ready? Heads or tails?
Heads.
Tails.
Fuck. Tails no fails.
Legally style in the house.
I can't be mad at it. I love me Will Smith.
As of right now, we got Ray as
We were in a
Michael
no-lose
Hall,
situation there.
Mm-hmm.
Peter as Will Smith, and we're moving on to 2000s round, and we're going to Winston. So for Winston, first round is Lindsay Lohan versus Millie Bobby Brown. And we'll start off with me, and my vote's going straight off to Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan is a basket case and a crazy woman, but she's an amazing actress when she gets down and dirty with it. So I'm straight off with Lindsay Lohan for me. And you got Brian next.
I think I agree that Lindsay Lohan is a legit actress. Millie Bobby Brown's an untested commodity. But I think you cannot deny the fact that this new Ghostbusters wouldn't even be happening if Stranger Things wasn't a thing.
Oh, hard
And off
bang.
the back of that, and the fact that I would like to see her do more, and I think she's going to have a great turn this summer in the new Godzilla movie, I'm going to give my vote to Millie Bobby Brown.
Hard bank on this new Teen Ghostbusters to have a kid from Stranger Things in it. Just
It would not hurt them.
I'm up next. I got to give it to LL. I got to give it Lindsay Lohan because you got to remember this would be like Freaky Friday, Mean Girls, Lindsay Lohan,
which is peak Lohan.
Peak Lohan. She'd bring that fun that Winston brings and this like bubbly energy that you would just eat.
I've seen shit that would turn you ginger.
the everyman position because she did that in Mean Girls.
So Millie Bobby Brown's like I don't know. I just can't get a read on her for a Winston yet. I think Millie Bobby Brown would be a better. God, I'm blanking on Ghostbusters tonight. What's the reception?
She'd be a good Egon because she's got that dry delivery. Her line readings would be very kind of. She could like be that straight man, but deliver those like hard jokes. I think you might be right. I could see that. I know what you're saying.
Or would she be better receptionist? What's her face?
Oh, Janine.
Sexist. Oh, you sexist motherfucker.
Sexist.
So I'm voting for. I'll vote Lindsay Lohan if you'll give me Parent Trap Lindsay Lohan, and I get 2 Lindsay Lohans for the price of 1.
Oh,
she's pretty young. She's even younger than Millie Bobby Brown in Parent Trap. But she's going to be an effective Ghostbuster at that age.
You get 2 Lohans.
And it's going to be like just imagine this, Brian. Just imagine this. Like the ghost is going to kill Lindsay Lohan, right? And she's goes to her and she doesn't have the proton pack, and he's like, "Where's your proton pack?" And he's like, "Right here." And she's behind him, killing him with the proton pack because Parent Trap. They trapped him.
They play Badge the Bone and have shenanigans with each other, just like the Parent Trap.
All right, Lindsay Lohan moves on.
He moves on. So next round, we got Zac Efron versus Daniel Radcliffe. And first vote for me.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, I'm going straight for Harry Potter because I want to see those glasses and Winston getting so scared, almost like the everyman position that Winston plays with the glass, having to push them up every other second. So I'm going for Harry Potter.
Oh, damn, that's who we should have put in here. The kid from Dazed and Confused who's always touching the bridge of his nose. Mitch.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
All right, Brian, you got next.
It was Harry Potter, and who's the other pick? I'm sorry?
Zac Efron.
Oh, Zac Efron. Yeah, I think I got to go with Harry Potter just based on his previous skill of being able to make a determined face and point a laser at something. We know he can do that. We know that Daniel Radcliffe can be like, and that will like transfer right over to proton pack acting. And like, we're not like, you don't need abs to be a Ghostbuster. I think that's the whole thing about the Ghostbusters.
True, yeah.
They're like regular dudes, they're scientists, they're nerds. So I don't think Zac Efron really has any player. Like, we already have a too hunky of a guy in Will Smith, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
There's already shouldn't be somebody that attractive on the Ghostbusters team. So I think this is an easy pick.
So move on. Daniel Radcliffe.
For me.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Harry Potter, moving forward. Daniel Radcliffe moves on.
Lindsay Lohan versus Daniel Radcliffe. Harry Potter. Jusef first.
Parent Trap, Lindsay Lohan.
I'm going Lindsay Lohan myself because
Lindsay Lohan over Harry Potter?
Guys, 2 Lindsay Lohans. Remember,
Two.
Lindsay Lohans. Kid Lindsay Lohans. I'm going Lindsay Lohan.
I've never seen Lindsay Lohan point a laser at anything, though.
I think she can.
I've seen her pierce another girl's ears.
I've heard stories. She can handle something that's like a laser.
Oh, but you know what, though? Okay, here we go. I will compare them in flying car movies. Herbie the Love Bug versus the flying car that gets stuck in the Whomping Willow.
All right.
And I, too, agree Lindsay Lohan is the...
Yes!
I'm moving on. So we got Lindsay Lohan as Winston.
Yes!
I'm moving
2
on.
Lindsay Lohans. 2!
2 Lindsay Lohans as Winston.
2 Winstons and
Also,
more.
okay, before we start this last bracket, I feel like I should have a little disclaimer
please
here. This was my idea to not only make a bracket of dead teens who mostly died tragic self-inflicted deaths. So I will take full credit. If anyone thinks that we're being disrespectful, I apologize. I did pick these people because their deaths stuck with me, because they're important. They were big stars, and it was like shocking and sad, and their talents were missed. So if you get the impression that we're being flip about this or that we're being disrespectful, please know that this comes from a place of love. And R.I.P. all these people and Egon respectively.
And they would have wanted this.
Yeah, they would have wanted to work. They would have liked to be in this movie because it's going to be awesome.
So
go ahead, TJ. Introduce us to our 4 dead teens.
So our 4 stars. Okay, so we'll start with this for the first round. 2 that defined a decade hand in hand, and even 2 of them that led up into the 90s. River Phoenix versus Corey Haim. This one hits home for me, especially that first vote. Both of these guys held strong parts of my growing up in my heart. I'm going Corey Haim for Egon, straight off the bat. I do love River Phoenix. I love him in Explorers, especially because he can play the role because of his role in Explorers. But Corey Haim, to me, untapped. The guy always played the same role. I feel like he could definitely play the nerd Lucas on top of that. For me, Corey Haim. I'm done. Corey Haim. Brian, you're up, bud.
It's weird because I feel like my childhood had tons of Corey Feldman and not a lot of Corey Haim, even though they were kind of like synonymous. And I didn't really realize that till I was a little bit older. So I missed a lot of the Corey Haim stuff. I obviously Lost Boys, though, is a big one. License to Drive is another one that were both made. But I feel like River Phoenix had the more potential. Like I feel he would have gone on to be a prestige actor. He would have been a Leonardo DiCaprio. He'd have been a guy who was like doing Oscar roles and stuff like that. And just for the fact that he played that young Indiana Jones in the beginning of Last Crusade is so good. He did what Alden Ehrenreich couldn't, and convincingly played a young Harrison Ford. So I'm gonna throw a little love to River Phoenix.
Done. Joe, what you got, bud?
Oh, I have no skin in this one.
Throw your way at somebody.
I'm going Haim. Sounds a lot like ham.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
Jusef, what you got?
I'm going River because I like water.
I'm gonna rescind my vote because thinking about his character in Explorers, River Phoenix.
You only vote once.
Well,
you gotta
I'm
flip a
rescinding
coin.
it, so let's go into the thing. I'll flip the coin. All right, I'm gonna flip the coin. All right,
I don't know. I mean, save our coin. We've done enough coin flips, right? He wants River Phoenix.
I'm River Phoenix.
I made a convincing argument, for God's sake.
You're good. Have yourself cry yourself a river.
This next one again comes close to the heart. Jonathan Brandis versus Brittany Murphy, and we'll start off with Brian because I rescinded my vote.
I'll tell you what, when I was making this bracket, Jonathan Brandis jumped out to me, but you guys are the ones who reminded me of Brittany Murphy, and ever since she came onto this bracket, I haven't stopped thinking about her. So I'm going to definitely vote Brittany Murphy. I love Jonathan Brandis. He had some great sidekicks, Ladybugs, Sequest. Cannot deny he had a really big Neverending Story 2. Sure, why not? But I think Brittany Murphy, between Clueless and then, kind of going on into, 8 Mile, Sin City, and then
Girl Interrupted.
Stuff too. Yeah. Girl Interrupted. Oh, Girl Interrupted, such a good one. So I can't believe I didn't think of that.
All right,
That's really
Joe.
great.
What you got?
Listen, you reminded me Brittany Murphy passed, and got pretty bummed out. Like Brittany Murphy.
I'm sorry.
Local girl made big.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Brandis dressed up in drag with Rodney Dangerfield. Now they're in drag together.
Given this part to Rodney Dangerfield.
I'm gonna go Brittany Murphy. I think she could pull the Egon off. I think Jonathan Brandis would be just too handsome. Well,
we've seen her do awkward. Like she could bring a little bit of that, the Clueless energy. In her first part, she could do nerdy. She could do awkward. She starred in a whole movie that was based around Carly Simon as a theme. So I'll give it to her.
Comes down to you, bud, or it goes back to me. So
I'm sorry. I don't care one bit about Jonathan Brandis.
All right.
I got nothing for him.
Brittany Murphy.
I got one thing.
Damn, the dude already killed himself, Jusef.
Jesus Christ, get ready for my pick for a movie later, guys. All right, so moving on. So
why do you hate us, CJ?
Brittany Murphy versus River Phoenix for our Egon role. This is it, guys. This is to make our final members of the Ghostbusters. We got Anthony Michael Hall as Ray Stantz, Will Smith as Peter Venkman, Winston Zedmore is Lindsay Lohan twice. So this one, River Phoenix versus Brittany Murphy.
Pretty good.
So we'll start off with me. Shit. I'm going River Phoenix, guys. I love Explorers. I love fucking Stand By Me. And I love that one part for young Indiana Jones because Indiana Jones doesn't sit well with me. But other than that, guys, unless it's Temple of Doom. Moving on. Brian, who you got?
Damn, TJ, you're just backwards as fuck, man. Not about the Indiana Jones thing. I actually agree with you here. I think this team, the one thing this team is missing is just a little bit of gravitas, and I think that is exactly what River Phoenix would bring here. As much as we praise Brittany Murphy,
if we would have pushed forward Gary, we wouldn't have this fucking problem.
It's true.
I think as much as we all love Brittany and we praise Brittany, I want to see. I think this is River Phoenix's part to play. He does it very stoic. He plays it very straight. And I think it would be really good for him. So I'm going to also vote River Phoenix.
All right, Joe, that comes down to an 80s character you have no pull on. So who you picking, bud?
Do you know the weight Gary Coleman held? He was up for the Butcher in Gangs of New York. He is supposed to be our Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah. So anyway, I think we got to go with I do like the point though. This team is missing that gravitas. I'll give you River Phoenix. I'll give it to you.
Bunch of sexist motherfuckers.
You said
we got 2 Lindsay Lohans on the team, man. How can we be sexist?
Not enough.
Jusef, what do you think of our team of Anthony Michael Hall, Will Smith, 2 Lindsay Lohans, and River Phoenix? But
the ghost, the ghost of River Phoenix.
Yeah, the ghost of River Phoenix to make the ultimate teen Ghostbusters of the decades.
I think it will create a war zone amongst the fandoms, but that's what we want. But talking about war zones.
Oh, I was gonna say I wanted to question which decade's childhood do you think it ruined the most? The 80s, the 90s, the 2000s.
All right, so since my segue was botched by
I
Brian,
fucked up your segue, man.
Last
I'm like
week,
the inventor of the Segway. I drove a Segway off a cliff.
Talking about grim, motherfucker. So last week I told the guys to watch the only good Punisher movie to have come out since Dolph Lundgren was naked in a sewer.
There's a DVD bunker about that Dolph Lundgren.
So the main reason why I asked the guys to watch this movie is because the boring Netflix movie where Jigsaw has a boo-boo on his face came out this week. So we decided to see a real rendition of the story. Like Joe did last week, I'm going to do some fun facts before we jump in. This currently holds 29% on Tomatoes with 101 critics, calling it excessively violent and outdated. I beg to differ. It's perfectly violent and is very much dated. Roger Ebert.
Perfect adaptation. It's a great comic book adaptation. It looks hard like colors. The visual style of it's very Lexi Alexander fucking painted a masterpiece.
Can I say,
as far as I'm concerned,
one thing it did that I'm just never a fan of, and it's no fault to this movie. I do not never do when the comic book movies put the paneling in the credits in the intro. It's a really minor complaint, but it's the first thing you see. Having said that, I agree with what you're saying.
That's
just to counter your point though, Joe. The reason why they put those panels in is because she uses the lighting and the neon and the colors so well throughout the movies. It reflects those panels that she interjected in the opening scene. So I get your point though.
Great. It's just the pet peeve of the comics.
So this is still
you're not an Ang Lee Hulk fan, is what you're saying.
I like the video game.
You like fighting dogs. So this is still the only female Marvel movie directed. Yeah. Motherfucker, that's a hard sentence, huh? This is the only Marvel property directed by. This is the only Marvel property directed by a female. And Lexi, like you said, Lexi Alexander. That record's gonna be broken by Captain Marvel this year. And Roger Ebert said about this movie that you used to be able to depend on a bad film being poorly made. No longer. The Punisher Warzone is one of the best made bad movies I've seen. So that's
not an unfair assessment by Roger Ebert. There's a reason the man had skills.
Yeah.
Because I love this movie, but you could also make the argument that it's not a quote unquote good movie. I can see that.
It's clunky. Like the dialogue itself is a clunk film. To just go off Robert Ebert
dialogue.
You know why I don't get what I don't get about the criticism towards this movie, why people say shit, is that people love 80s movies, RoboCops and Terminators, and
it's right up there.
And it's exactly that type of movie, like the one-liners, the excessive violence, the world building that they make in this movie. It feels like a fucking 80s movie.
No, man, it's a lot of
opening
fun.
scene where Ray Stevenson shows up on that in the meeting, the dinner with all the mobs, and he sets off the phosphorus grenade. They're all like wincing, and he just walks right across the table and slices dude's head off, like just the first thing.
I was like, woman.
He kills his wife, and then I think the scene, like, I'm like, okay, this is a cool fight scene. He's Boondock Saintsing off the fucking chandelier. I get it. But when he jammed the chair and the leg went into the dude's eye, I was like, all right, I'm fucking into this. Like, I'm in it.
I think it's one of those things, guys, where it just came out at the wrong time. You're saying, like,
I don't think it came at the wrong time. It had a weird.
No, I really.
Well, they didn't push. They didn't promote. They didn't give a good. They didn't give it a good push.
I think critics would be praising that movie today for exactly what Jusef said, and it was too good of what it was trying to do for the time period it was in.
I think
it was just a movie that I really like critics would grade that thing so much more differently today. It wouldn't get chalked up. It got thrown in, even though it's totally different. Got thrown
in a world where Venom makes $800 million or whatever, and Punisher Warzone deserves better.
It got thrown into the Ghost Riders of the world.
Yeah, and you know what? And it also has that dark sense of humor towards it. Like, you can't take a film this seriously where a fucking meth addict parkour is destroyed by a grenade launcher mid-jump. That's fucking hilarious.
That's how everybody felt about parkour by the time this movie came out, too.
Yeah.
Well, like,
that was also
Jesus Christ.
The one thing I enjoyed about this was, as we're getting into, was who knew what movie it was. Like, I understand where you guys are seeing, and the one thing for me, it was miscast in the Punisher point of view. Ray Stevenson is a giant lumbering guy.
See, I love that about him. I love what a brute he is in this. When you see him, and when he's in his full armor and stuff, he looks like a fucking tank.
But when you see him get on top of a thing on the ship, the bins where he looks like he looks winded from just getting on a knee and then getting up. That's when I get worried about him.
I did notice when I was watching it this time, I was thinking about the way people look when they get cast in superhero movies these days, and I was like, the flak jacket and long sleeve tees are doing a lot of work for Ray Stevens. He clearly did not do any work on his upper body. He's just letting his legit height do the work. Like, just the fact that he's a huge dude.
But it makes sense. Why the fuck Frank Castle is always on the run, is always killing people? When the hell is he going to go to the gym?
Working out? Yeah, exactly.
Or why is he sitting in the middle of
the he was shitting on the other Punishers. I do think that Barenthal in the Daredevil, when the first those 4 episodes
the Daredevil season,
that was like the perfect amount of Punisher, and he was really great in that.
All you needed.
I just agreed with you that he's just a boring character. How can you make a character who just murders his villains interesting? Oh, we need a good villain for Daredevil. Oh well, he's dead. Oh wait, we brought in this new. Oh, never mind, he's murdered. Like, how do you propel the story?
Well, you said it perfectly. How do you make Punisher, who should just be a side note character, good? Give him villains like they did in this movie. Dominic West playing Jigsaw is phenomenal, and his brother, which you guys think the hardcore
scumbag, the guy who plays
phenomenal.
my this reminded me of, like, it's Dick Tracy if it was a hard R, but
you stole that from me, Joe.
Oh yeah, but my question would be real quick. Who would you like to see as Punisher? I have my answer, but real quick, like, just an actor, if you have it on your head, who would we like to see as Punisher?
Ray Stevens.
I like Ray Stevenson. I do think Barenthal is good. Like I said, I think he's good in the role. I just think the show is boring. I don't think he's bad. I think the show is bad.
I want to see this movie with Michael Shannon.
Ooh, yeah, I'd be into that. Ben Foster also would be a good one.
Yeah. Bang, yeah. All because of Alpha Dog. In Alpha Dog, that one role he played, when he goes in that room and beats up all those people in Alpha Dog, is one of the best Ben Foster roles, like, moments I've seen in a long time. Before
I was really hoping Hell or High Water would kind of bring him back a little bit, but it didn't really do too much for him.
I mean, he killed it. He killed it in Leave No Trace.
Yeah, that was the movie.
Watch that movie. It's fucking great.
To speak on the villains again, though, Dominic West and the fucking makeup, man, I love the Jigsaw makeup. It's incredible. Oh, and the way it happens, like, just like out of the comic, it's like he's in that fucking glass shredder. It's just so nasty. I love the character of Looney Bin Jim. fucking Doug Hutchison, real life scumbag. I've been a fan of the guy since he was on those 2 episodes of the X-Files in season 1. He's Tooms. He's the guy who can like stretch himself into really small spaces and eats people's livers. Sorry, I'm old.
Oh wow! Yeah, whoa, wow! Yeah, thank you for bringing that.
Yeah, he's Tooms. But anyway, I like that guy in that role, and I like him in this role. But just let it be said, the dude is real life scumbag.
I like the brotherly love that they have. They both psychopaths, but yet they're very loving and supportive to one another.
I love when he first breaks him out and he's all mangled and Jim's like, "You look amazing," or whatever. He's like, I just love how he's just
his eyeball work is so great.
Oh yes, that makeup job is amazing. What is your favorite one-liner? Mine was "You Krispy Kreme motherfuckers." That's solid.
Yeah,
if I want to get serious at this one, it's when he looks at Micro Wayne Knight at the very end. He goes like, "You won't feel," or he says like, "You won't feel a thing, or
you won't feel anything."
Yeah, he knows that he's gonna get shot. But he's not the one who does it because he knows that what he does will reciprocate what happens. And you're just like, when I saw that, I was like, man, this actually got deep for a second because you felt for Wayne Knight who's playing the Micro, the one was
the psychic.
Yeah, that's Punisher's guy. So when you see Wayne Knight and you see a lot of his roles and you see that moment, you're like, I fucking feel for Jerry Seinfeld's enemy. So Newman, jeez, I couldn't think of it. Damn it.
I love that Wayne Knight was in this movie.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. No, I think I got to go with TJ. I love that line.
Yeah, just like he like just know. But I'm gonna say like. This movie, which you had us watch because of the new show coming out, they both could benefit from each other. You gotta take you gotta own the villains like they are written in the comic books, like they did with Lexi Alexander did with Jigsaw, and then have John Berthal be the serious side of it. So that way they're playing off each other. You can't have 2 characters who are both fighting PTSD simultaneously at the same time and have us as an audience give a shit. You know what I mean?
And have a boo-boo on his face.
Yeah, like, are you kidding me? And you have a headache every once in a while?
Yeah,
get out of here.
Stars on the Lady and Unforgiven.
Yeah. Own that you're beautiful like Dominic West did. Like, own that shit like he did. And
he was like Gary, I almost said Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman!
He was like Gary Oldman from Hannibal.
Yes.
His shit was fucked up.
Oh, it looked like a Halloween mask, and it was great for that.
But all in all, I was a big Thomas Jane fan, Punisher, which is weird. I saw when I was younger. I get it. I know it's not good, but I like John Howard Saint. This dominated that to every extent. It was so good.
Thomas Jane was in that short.
That was fine. That's fine.
No, I hate that. Like, Thomas Jane was a good casting. He lets some people take some serious shit before he helps. Fuck that. I watched that short. I'd heard all that shit about it, how good it was, and then I watched it. I was like, no, he's still a fucking asshole. We're supposed to cheer for this guy. He's waited forever.
I take that back, Jusef. My favorite line of this is the very end of this movie where you have his partner, the dude, I can't think of his name, the redheaded guy. And he like walks away and he's talking to Frank, and then Frank disappears and he gets held up at the bottom of the stairs. He's like, Frank, and you have him walk up. The entire silhouette drops around him, and you just hear the gunshot, and it's like bang, that's it. Because you know dude.
And it's a beautiful scene too, where the cross
right above
face, yeah,
it's
fucking great.
That has to be the best.
I want to talk shit about Twitter though. Twitter gets machine.
You didn't ask me my favorite line.
No, oh yeah, go ahead, baby.
I love when he's talking to the priest. I tweeted yesterday. He's talking to the priest. And he's like, "I'd like to get my hands on God."
Oh yeah,
that's like such a fucking Punisher thing to say.
The hell one.
Lexi Alexander just did her research.
I'll see you in hell. That's weird too.
Yeah, it's like if I see you anywhere near hell, I'll kick your ass out.
That's what you tweet. That's what you texted us about.
Yeah, they're so good.
Nah, this movie's goofy.
So let's go to the rating phase.
Ooh, I think you're gonna talk shit about Twitter. What happened to that?
Oh, fuck you, Twitter GIF machine. I could not find a fucking GIF about this movie. Everything is just
I couldn't find a Warzone GIF either.
Fuck you.
Not even a jigsaw face.
Fix it.
Twitter sucks. All right, so TJ, what do you think about this movie?
I'm giving this a hard 7.5. This is a fun movie to watch. You can't take it seriously going into it. You have to take it like it has zero connection to anything. So take it as nothing. Just go into it and have fun with it. That's it. 7.5. Hard 7.5.
Yeah, I'm right about there. At 7.2 at 10. I'm trying to log every movie I watched this year on Letterboxd. So out of that, I gave it because it doesn't have that type of rating, I gave it a 3 out of 5. Because of the amount of fun I had with it. Like most things I find myself giving on Letterboxd right now, like 2.5. But anyway, so yeah, this is 7.2. It was a really fun watch. Thanks for picking it,
Brian.
Well, if anybody listened to the DVD Bunker, my top 10 comic book movies, non-MCU, this made the lists. So I'm definitely giving this like an 8 out of 10. This movie's a blast. It knows exactly what it is.
Yep.
It respects its source material. It treats the Punisher the way you should be treated. Like you should look at the Punisher and be like when the scene where they're in the house and he like takes the girl away from the kidnapper and then he just blows dude's head off and the cop's like, Jesus Christ, Castle. That's how everyone should react to it. That's how fans, that's how anyone should react to the idea of the Punisher. Like, Jesus God. So I think this movie hits that home. It actually, weirdly, as crazy and as silly it is, it has a couple of good emotional moments too. Yeah. They actually do hit a few good emotional beats. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna also give it a 8 blown heads out of 10. It's a fun movie. It's the type of movie, like the type of violence Deadpool wishes it could have done with their hard R comedy. It's a blast, and I think Marvel. Yeah, and I think Marvel shot itself in the foot. They should have ran with the Marvel Knights logo that they did in front of this one, and just done a lot of like offshoot comic books where we're just violent.
Now what's getting popular, you could have had Logan could have been under Marvel Knights, Deadpool could have been under Marvel Knights.
Yeah. Yep. So the next episode is TJ. TJ, what are you gonna fucking make us watch?
Oh, I'm getting right back on brand, boys. So get ready. We talked about this gentleman earlier. He was a big part of my life growing up, and we're gonna dive right into a Karate Kid type sequel from the '90s, and we're doing sidekicks. We're doing Jonathan Brandis, Chuck Norris, Bo Bridges. And we're doing sidekicks. I don't know where to watch it. I'm going to find out where. If it's not free anywhere, we'll take care of that. But sidekicks. I'm going Jonathan Brandis, 90s classic, guys. And I'm going to close this out with saying you can find me at TJ Dex. You're on Movie Squad now if you're watching this not live, but if you're watching this on YouTube. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, DVD Bunker, whyIlovemovies.com, What You Never Seen This, and that's it. Have a good one, guys.
You can find me on DVD Bunker.
I was going to say, you might not have noticed, but I dropped some subtle hints to a few DVD Bunker episodes throughout this recent episode of Flyover State of Films. So if you're listening closely, you may know that you can find me, Brian Hurst, at Hercules on Twitter, hashtag DVD Bunker, and you can look for that podcast on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, Anchor, and wherever you do your podcasting.
And Joe, you want to say your Twitter?
No, Fandango. I mean, you made it this far. You know.
All right, so at whyIlovemovies.com, posting reviews that nobody reads. I may post a review of Warzone for my cult classic section just to get more of my thoughts out on that movie because I really did love it. But thank you guys. It was fun. Hope you guys had fun. Peace.